All right, thank you. We're back, and we'd like to say thank you for being there. Now, why JS, he said I shouldn't say this, but I will. Why he's been secretly admiring our next guest for many years. I have loved and appreciated her for her charm and her professionalism. Betty Dibia is co-founder Branama Media Limited, a broadcast journalist of over 20 years with a few industry awards to her name. She loves feature stories, documentaries, children media, and our guest was Foreign Affairs correspondent at some point and Foreign Affairs correspondent in South Africa for more than 10 years. It's such a pleasure to be sharing this space with you today, Betty.
I'm honored to be here. Honestly,
so
I'm
you
really.
See, so you see why I'm
honored. So many few things you've done for me, but this one, don't worry.
I can see you fighting.
Thank you for inviting me.
So a warm welcome, Betty. So how can we use media to reshape our children's minds? I guess it can go either way, but well, you tell us a bit about that, okay?
All right.
So Helen, okay, I'll allow you to fire the first.
I'm okay, enjoying the rain now because it's been hot for a long time. Yes.
Okay. All right. So how can media serve as a platform to instill indigenous and good traditional values in Nigerian children?
Well, not just Nigerian children, anywhere in the world. We know that the researchers, they've told us that media is a very strong socializing agent for children, informing attitudes, behaviors, and even views, global views about their community. So what they get to consume, they are what they see, what they watch, what they read, and so on and so forth. So it's important that we deliberately fill the space of where they consume what they consume. Traditional media, so you can't even ignore the social or the more modern platforms now. So as we always say, communication for change is deliberate.
Yeah.
It is strategic, and it has to be coordinated in such a way that you don't operate in silos. The family is there, government is there, has a very important role to play. The media as well. So it's not just media, what are you doing? I will still come to the media and the picture that we have today, which is very sad compared to when I was growing up, where probably, but there was professionalism regarding production. There was the children's belt at the time. Right now, you and I know that it's not the case, and it's a problem.
It is.
So what you don't teach the children through your space of influence, the streets, or the internet in this case, will teach them.
That's right. Okay, so we are looking at reshaping the minds of our children, and I guess what that means is infusing some of our local cultural traditional values into their minds, because we probably got it wrong at some point. Maybe we exposed them too much. Now, could you tell me what specific cultural elements or traditions do you believe should be highlighted and maybe celebrated in children's media to promote a sense of identity and pride?
First is the language. Our languages. Everyone should be represented. It should be inclusive. It's not all about English. English is good. It's a global language. We can't ignore that. But when you exclude other ethnic, let me not say the ethnic groups, the languages that we speak on a daily, they speak at home, or it's unfortunate again, many families, you just speak English. When the parents are of the same ethnic group, the children are still speaking just English. Whereas some families or some communities, once you leave school, you get home, it's your language. You have to at least be fluent in one traditional language.
So that's language.
Language. And the colors that make up who we are. The dressing, the festivals, they're there. How many of that do you see? Who is commissioning what? Remember, all this has to do with funding. We still keep coming back to funding. In Nigeria, how much funding do producers get? Is there anything like that, like a deliberate fund that government says, okay, working with the relevant agencies, maybe NOA, the National Orientation Agency, the national broadcaster, they try, the NTA tries, but it's just not enough. I'll tell you a little bit about a study that I was looking through at some point, where they looked at 3 levels: national broadcaster, state-owned, and 1 private. I won't name names. But out of about 800 programs, like combining the 3, just barely 3%. 3% was just for children. We're not talking languages now.
Wow.
For children, this is combined local plus international. 3%. And then time allotted to children's programming. This is where you now have the children doing things, seeing themselves on TV, if it's TV we're talking about, or hearing themselves on radio. Time allotted for that, less than 3%. In a world where some places governments give funding as much as, say, 60 million pounds. I'm sure you know the country I'm talking about, for content, original content generation, with children, about children.
Yes.
Other countries, $30 million US. I know that for many countries, that is going south, the figures are going down because it's difficult globally. But they're still not overlooking the importance of stimulating, reflecting who we are or who they are to the children, so that they carry on comfortable in their own skin. That it's okay to learn science in Hausa. It's okay. You were talking about AI. It's okay to be told what AI is all about in
local languages.
In the local languages. They must be comfortable to learn. It's the knowledge. If Mandarin is okay to learn anything, I mean, they're proud, they're comfortable. So it has to be deliberate, as I keep saying. You sit down and plan. What do we do? How do we fund this? And politics has taken over. And I'm talking political politics now, not administrative politics. But that some of the reasons that these stations that I talked about gave is, political interference, not in the way you're thinking. There is an event, somebody is commissioning a gutter. Something as little as that. They pay for airtime. The stations have to survive. They pay for airtime and then displace whatever is in the way. So even if in that time slot you have children's content, that's
you
it.
have contributed something.
Yes. But that's it. So we have to rethink, to reflect. There has to be children. I mean, according to the broadcasting African Charter on children's broadcasting, there's so many things to help their development. It's got to be fun. It's got to be safe. It has to reflect who they are. It has to be enlightening. Then inclusive, innovative. You have to move with the times, but on your terms.
Yeah.
All right.
With who you are
Okay.
in mind. Yes.
All right, thank you so much. Because as you're speaking, I'm looking at the pictures and I'm looking at the realities, on ground. Children bells used to be it. You can't touch it in those days.
That's it.
It was for children's local content, the Tales by Moonlight, the sit down in the night situation and rehearse, tell them about who they are and instill in them the pride and the identity and all of that. And for different reasons that we can't mention here, all of that phased out. We just left, especially.
And funding is still a problem. You have individuals who are making effort. I can name a few. You have individuals, but they can't. It's difficult. They can't really go too far if
because
it's not coordinated.
Organizations they don't see the children content and the bells as sellable, as attractive.
For those that government has a huge responsibility in the issue of funding. For the corporate bodies, it's commercial for them. They want to boost their brand. So it's mostly the entertainment aspect, or entertainment sometimes, where they sponsor the spelling bee. Once that's over, that's it. But this funding has to be sustained. Like, this is not to be touched. It is for children. And encourage independent producers. I don't know if anybody remembers Kali and Tewa show. I think that was individual effort. I used to watch it like, oh, this man, I don't know whether it was a man or a woman who produced that, but tried so hard for many years. It's not even, I didn't even find it on the internet.
In fact, just very recently when Uncle Jimmy Shalanke passed, you know,
storytelling.
It was all about storytelling. So how can we, you know, in what ways can storytelling in the media be used to transmit moral lessons and ethical values that are rooted in Nigerian culture?
It's already in African storytelling. It is there already. We don't need to get it anywhere else. It's already there. It is, will you give space as a TV station, for example, for the storyteller to have a time slot to do this with the children? Are you willing to pay? Because bills have to be paid. Or will you get sponsors? Most of the time they tell them, oh, go get sponsors and then we give you the time. That's difficult. You know, so the individual efforts here and there, it's not coordinated. There's no deliberate structure, no policy to say no. Children must have 3 hours every day. That children's belts must return. Not politics. Some stations have 1 million political shows. We have to talk about our democracy. We do. The children too need to know. So what if you have issues of democracy, because they have opinions as well.
They do.
And I was part of a workshop where the children were saying, nothing for us without us. They want their voices heard, and not a token manner. They want to be part of the daily conversation. They want to be reflected, not just as victims when bad things happen, or the odd, best math student globally. You know, every day, are they part of our daily news? Are they part of exposure to our culture? If I'll expose you a little bit, some place we meet sometime where you have a quiz segment and you're talking to the children, the questions on Nigeria is heartbreaking. They don't know.
Yes.
They don't know. They're very brilliant. Mention Elsa or any of the international, and their faces light up and they're answering you questions. So they don't know a lot about the icons, the little things that make up the big picture, and we're colorful. We're rich. The culture is rich. But we don't even need to search. Just make that space funding as well. Government has a role to play.
Yes.
Where's the policy to support whatever it is that you want to put in place?
Absolutely. And really, I must commend, I mean, what you've been doing in that area, you know, trying to get the children, trying to reshape, you know, their minds. I remember one of those days, and one of the children was asked to spell Keresimesi, and he just went, you know,
the face on
that
certain things that, I mean,
got me.
you will expect a Nigerian to know. Are we using our young icons? I mean, I'm not a fan of Burna Boy, and I don't hate him, you know. I just don't follow. But every time I see him, I say, that's a Nigerian child. Bold, he's there, and he has this smile on his face. He's confident. That's a Nigerian child. Why wouldn't we have influencers like that getting together here and there with children?
Yes.
You can't throw it away. If you go on a place like YouTube, they're cleaning out with advert revenue. You know, there's so much for the children there, and they're moving. Why wouldn't we have presence there with our stuff? Quality content, please. Quality content.
Okay, maybe we should, at this point, consider the influence of social media, you know, on today's children, the youth. How important would you say it is to divert children's attention towards positive values through other media channels, like the regular media channels as we've known them?
I didn't get that.
Is it possible for us to divert it's like they're fully engaged
now,
in
yeah.
social.
There's variety there for them.
Yeah, how do we move them back to traditional media?
You cannot move them because these days even you get everything you want on a mobile device.
True.
So it's easier for them. And then on a traditional TV channel, what is there for them? You need to pull them back. You can't pull them away. You must establish presence there. Some of the things individual efforts as well, Nigerian-centered or African-centered, the followership on YouTube, for example, is huge. I was watching one this morning, Omoberry, I think that's what it's called. They had what they call live jam. Just playing music, how to brush your teeth, how to cross the road. And I was looking at the people watching. People watching, it runs into millions. So there's huge following there. Work with people like that too on traditional media. The same thing, make space for them, have deals with them, and then establish your own content too, your presence there.
Yeah.
Because you can't avoid it.
All right, each time you talk about, identity, you just talked about Burna Boy, he's a Nigerian, he's bold, he's got smiles on his face 24/7 kind of.
Just confident.
Confident.
Yes.
Your face just lights up. So at this point in time, let's come to Betty Dibia. What exactly are you doing right now with the children? Trying to rebrand, if I can use that word.
Yes. I just saw the gap, just trying to do my own bit, producing children's content with children, with Nigerian children. And they're always so excited. We have different programs. Some we're still working on. And you see how happy they are to see themselves on TV, not just being on TV and watching, participating. We try to be as inclusive as possible. If you recall, John, where we had some deaf children, they were part. We didn't say, you stay there. We got a signing lady on set, and the deaf children were there with the other kids, participating in the games, and they were so happy to be
part of it.
So we're trying our best to do. It's difficult. Funding is still a problem. I'm one of those suffering from the funding problem, and there's so many others trying their best to do the same thing I'm trying to do. So we have content pool we're trying to fill.
Drama?
We're working on drama. Drama costs money, because drama is another thing. So sustained drama series on TV stations.
Reality shows for the children?
I don't know about that. That's difficult. That's difficult to control. Children are a different kettle of fish to deal with. But drama, having job. Growing up, I watched a lot of drama. I remember watching KOK, Kanayo, Kanayo.
Yeah.
I still remember his lines in that drama. It's part of what they call. Then I was in Anambra State, old Anambra State, schools drama. KOK, I still remember his lines. My siblings still do. Schools drama had different stories every week, but we always looked forward to schools drama. We don't have that.
So the interesting thing for me is that you just confirmed to us that Betty Dibia is back here with us now. And we're not,
I'm backish.
You're backish.
Okay.
I'm backish.
Okay. So I would like you to tell us, please, how can parents and educators, collaborate with media creators to ensure that children are exposed to content that reflects and promotes indigenous Nigerian values?
Everyone has to make time to play their part. Especially the family. So if the teachers are trying, what curriculum? When I said deliberate plans to communicate who you are, who you really are to the children. So everybody has to make the time to play the part. If the teachers teach, if they do history, for example, the parents or the family members can take part of the responsibility to school the children as well. And if they see a bit of that history on TV or on radio or in newspapers, I don't really know, but I know there's some papers where you have all these crossword puzzles. In South Africa, for example, I used to buy this magazine. They had pullouts for children, mazes, lessons, not lessons in that way, but enlightening things. I used to read them because my mind is that of a child. I learn a lot through children things. So we don't really have that. I know many of our magazines here is gossip and entertainment and all that, and I have nothing against that, you know. But
we have
everyone,
to make time.
we have to make time. Everybody, government has to
step in,
even step in with the funding or listening to you know, make time to listen to those in the industry, because it's critical.
It is.
It is a critical industry that is overlooked. NBC.
It's highly overlooked. You know, this just takes. Sorry, I'm having to jump in here because this takes me back a few years ago. I was asked to chaperone some Americans to Ile-Ife on an exchange program, and we got to the Seventh-day Adventist church there, and someone addressed us and was telling us the story of Ile-Ife, and you know, at the end of it, my jaw almost dropped onto the floor. And I was like, hey, we don't even know all of this.
That's it.
You know, you could do this into stories, you know, and tell it to us, tell it to the children.
At least I know one person who is trying that. They call her Auntie Norma, Mrs. Norma Shodiko. She's doing a lot. But how much support does she even have? She's written books. She has some radio shows where she talks about African names, teaching the alphabet in African names. These are people working on their own, but it must be coordinated. There must be a deliberate plan. There must be policies as well.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much. Once upon a time, very popular with children programming and content was Auntie Nkem.
Yes.
I don't know where she is right now.
I don't know where she is. Funny enough, I recall participating. She used to anchor a show. She took that show over, Tortoise Club.
Yes.
She took the show over from Madam Edna Izora.
And
she's
so
late
many
now.
Of the things she was doing with the younger ones.
Yes.
Rounding up, you are known for, when Betty Dibia is mentioned, is about news.
Yes.
I mean, where is the interest for children's programming?
I've always loved children's media. Always.
Okay.
And my favorite shows are children's shows, funny enough.
And I can see children all over you.
Away from all the hard news, I love children's productions. Quality.
Yeah.
Quality content.
Whoa.
And we have to get there.
We'll get there. I mean, we can say that children are not only the future, they are our now.
Our now.
You know, so this is Betty. This is wishing you the very best.
Thank you so much.
Moving forward, and I'm so elated being able to bring you onto this show today.
Thank you. I'm really honored.
It's so good to see you again.
That was brilliant, Betty. Thank you for investing in the children.
Thank you.
And well done.
Hopefully, government will hear.
They will
and make a change.
I think we should do more.
We should
do more of the noise making and shouting.
Yes, we should talk about it more.
Okay, then. Thank you again.
Thank you so much.
All right. So up next, time out with the queen of Keep Fit, Dolly Phillips. And after that, our next guest will be here to help us with the tips on how to navigate this season, you know, and it's all about food and good nutrition. Don't go away. Let's join Dolly Phillips now in the gym.